Hello ladies and gentlemen, here is another little video from Mike James. This one is about galletting stone. Now that's Galletting, galletting or galletting, whatever pronunciation you choose. Not everybody's thing when they're repointing, but it is really the way it should be done. And what happens when you rake out? You can see, you know, that's the usual depth that I rake to. And when I rake out, what happens is I pull all the little stones. So you can see here, there would have been a stone in there at some point. Now this is all earth mortar, the thing is, because the old lime mortar was only troweled quite lightly over the top. It really was the old way of pointing was simply mechanical. It wasn't about looking good. It was just to get that earth mortar shored up and make sure that you know, it wasn't going to get, because the thing is, as soon as earth mortar gets wet, it just turns back to earth. Here's an example. Pick the one with the pebble. Picked up the one with the pebble. Yeah, as you can see, it's just moist earth, really. Now, and it was pointed over with a sand and quicklime mixture, mortar, porous, friable, flexible. And here's it going on now, and basically, if we were back in the day, then the pointing would effectively be that, but just sort of scraped back. All the brushing and everything we do nowadays, it's not the way it used to be. But you know, that's all come about because of the lime revival, because everybody started beating back NHL with churn brushes, and that was never the case. It was cut back, it was troweled, you know, and it cracked, and the cracks just sat there for, you know, 200-300 years. But you know, it's all beyond its past its sell by date now, so it all has to be redone. Now back to the galletting stone. So you know, you've got holes like that. Now, you know, you have two choices. You can backfill solely with mortar, but that's not like for like, because all of us who are in the repointing business, we know what galletting stones are. We pull them out all the time, and they end up on the floor and just go into the tip, and sometimes they never get replaced. And what happens is, simply because back in the day, if you wanted sand, you had to go and dredge a river. Nowadays it's just crushed rock, made easily available, and it's cheap and cheerful, depending on where you go, of course. You know, anyway, lime was expensive back in the day. You didn't waste it, so you didn't waste sand and you didn't waste lime, but there was always an abundance of broken stone lying around. So what would happen is, here I'm just got some ready to go here. They're a little bit too big. Those ones on the floor, they need smashing up a bit more, but those on the top of the tub, there's a few good sizes there, and they're going to go in the they're going to go in the likes of this, because I personally think it gives a building more structural integrity. I think it's going to make it last longer. It's like, if we take this for example, I could just fill that with mortar, nobody would ever know, right? But we're having a galletting stone in there, right? Now I've cheated a little bit here. Now there are many contractors who just bang some mortar in that, you know, absolutely no problems whatsoever. It wouldn't particularly do it any harm, but you know, if I, you know, on a big project, I might go through half a ton of galletting stone. Now that's half a ton of mortar I don't have to mix, which is works out to be, you know, anybody who's ever mixed lime mortar mechanically knows that it's still a fag. It's still a pain in the backside, you know, and half a ton will cost, you know. So there's your hole, here's your lime. Basically, you just cement it in, for lack of a better word. Oh, that was bad, wasn't it, eh? Okay, so I'm putting it in pointy ways. There you go. Now, you know, I can leave it like that, or I can give it a little tap like that, or a little tap like that. It matters not. Then, when I'm pointing, as I go along, all I'll do is I'll just cover it up. So no one knows it's there. All they see is a wide joint. But you see, the thing is, as these buildings get older, the joints get wider and wider and wider, because every time they get raked out, it doesn't make any difference. You know, you could rake out. I know the conservation department say, oh, can't rake out with an SDS drill. Well, I tell you what, SDS drills were purposefully made to rake out mortar. They're very good. There's no reason why you can't use an SDS drill. You can't. There's no reason why you can't do anything mechanical. So, you know, and it really lengthens the job if you're gonna pick by hand. Picking by hand, in my opinion, is quite ridiculous. And if I priced to pick by hand, I'd never get the job. So here you go. Galletting stone in there. Now, two choices. Leave it, knock it back a bit, knock it back a bit. Don't knock it back too hard, otherwise you can crack the stone. So that's it, and all I'm going to do is as I go along, pointing up, that's going to get covered like so. Nobody's ever going to know. So, say for example, this hole, that's going to be plugged with something like that. Okay, now no one's ever going to know, and sometimes, you know, when I put a quote out, some people will say, oh Mike, you're more expensive than anyone else. Well, you know, there's a reason for that. But anyway, you know, if you want to be doing the job properly, make sure you get your galletting stones in. We used to call them pinners, because when you're building a dry stone wall, you have to pin the stone. You don't pin it from the front, you always pin it from the back, because it's, you know, dry stone builds. Well, you don't see that many nowadays. They're probably all fallen down, you know, hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Many of the whetstone ones are still standing, whereas the dry stone would have, you know, they're not the best to live in, a dry stone built house. Anyway, so anything else I can say about this? Yeah, don't scrimp on the galletting stone. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you.